What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the No Structure Best Ball podcast. I'm your host, Matt Holzel. I'm going to be taking you through a little board draft tonight. We'll be doing some late night best ball drafting. Appreciate you guys joining. I'm going to go ahead and share this link out and we'll get this party started. We are waiting for one to fill and then we will be off and running. We are filled and we got the 12 hole. Go ahead and send this out. And we are ready to rock and roll. Appreciate y'all being here. If you're here for best ball, then you are in the right place. If you are here for something else, then you may not be in the right place. And we're off. Bijan goes at the 101. All right, so a little bit about the little board. This is a $3 entry. It's got a $100,000 to first grand prize. There's 189,000 entrants in this tournament. The advancement structure is tough. 2 out of 12, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10. So, really difficult to advance in this particular tournament. If you do get through, though, on that $3 bet, you can cash in 100K. So let's make it happen. It's a 20 entry max. You only got 20 bullets to shoot. So let's make sure we've got some really good aim. Thanks again for being here. Appreciate you guys dropping by. Once again, we are doing the little board and we are drafting from the 12th hole. We are up next. Already got some kind of crazy stuff going on here. They weren't crazy enough to give me Lamb at the 12, which is good. I'm going to go Genty and Love. Get this started off, RB. And we will go ahead and get those first two picks in the books, excuse me. I like Genty over Achane this year in particular. I think there's just too much turmoil down there in Miami for my liking. So I've been avoiding Achane unless he drops just a little bit further. Kind of in that Saquon range, maybe just behind Saquon. I think that's where it probably appropriately belongs. All right, 19 picks away. I'm going to step out for just a sec to check on the kiddo. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back in the saddle, back in the driver's seat, back in the captain's chair. However you want to say it, I'm back, and we're going to win this tournament. How are we going to win this tournament? I do not know, but we're going to win this tournament. We got to find all the puzzle pieces and put this mosaic together. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, 6 picks away. Coming up on picks 36 and 37. In that third round, Nico went first, followed by Allen, Bucky Irving, Kenny Three Sticks, Breece Hall, and AJ Brown. Like that price on Brown. Really like that price on Olave. I never get him there. That would be awesome. Alrighty. Well, I like Garrett Wilson, JMO, Zay, Lad. I think let's go Garrett Wilson first. We'll go Lad second. All right, so started off with the 2 running backs, Genty and Love, followed that up with 2 stud wide receivers in Garrett Wilson and Ladd McConkey. Also like Jameson, Williams, and Zay in that range. Devonta Smith too as well, sure. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and take a quick scan of the board. After we took Wilson and McConkey at the 3-4 turn, we had Rice, followed by Adams and Devonta Smith. Loveland's getting pulled up a little bit here with the news on the DJ Moore trade. So seeing Loveland go a few spots higher. Followed by Mbuka, JMO, and Zay at 44. And then there's Burden at 46. Coming here into the 5th round, we've got a 0-2-2 build. Started off robust RB, followed by Garrett Wilson and Ladd McConkey. We have the divisional correlation cooking up on the AFC West here between Las Vegas and LA Chargers. So that could always, there's always a chance that could hit week 17 or one of the other playoff weeks. So I like that to try to build in game stacks before we know what the schedule is. Just a little tip. In this range, warming up a little bit to Judkins just because he's out of the walking boot. Not really in on Scatabo here, but much rather Harvey or the wide receivers, Makai Lemon, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson for the rookie upside, And then I think you've got a good solid pick in Courtland Sutton. More question marks around Marvin Harrison. I haven't been taking him as much as Sutton and Evans. I just like their situations a lot more. I think things are a bit more cemented. The quarterback situations, certainly good in Denver, and Mike Evans, he's most likely not coming back to Tampa Bay, so we don't know his quarterback situation, but I'm sure he's going to want to play for a contender. Given his age, he's only going to play for, competitive teams, so I think kind of build in that a little bit. We'll take Makai Lemon here, the rookie out of USC, get a little rookie upside. And then why don't we go Courtland Sutton? I think that's a solid pick. Maybe, not the flashiest player, but he's tethered to Bo Nix. I think it's a solid 4, solid as your 4th wide receiver in this build. Good texture. We have the AFC West divisional correlation between Denver, LA Chargers, and the Las Vegas Raiders for those playoff weeks, potentially championship week. Hopefully get a game stack. We can kind of back into a game stack since we don't know schedules yet. And then we have the rookie upside, which, I tend to like to usually get 1 or 2 rookies on a team, depending on, how the board falls. In this case, we get the premier rookie running back in the class, Jeremiah Love. Pulled him up a couple spots, but pairing him up with Genty. I think the Raiders are ascending this year. The coaching staff is a definite upgrade with Clint Kubiak. I think the ownership group has been doing well since adding Tom Brady. So yeah, Raiders, I think, are going to trend up, and indirectly that'll mean Genty's going to have a better season than last year. I think the O-line will get better, be it from free agency or the draft or a combination of both. So yeah, looking at the board here, haven't been drafting a lot of Parker Washington here. When he drops into the 80s, I've scooped him a few times. Would prefer Ricky Pearsall or Alex Pierce from a wide receiver perspective in this range. Do like Harold Fannin. Warming up a little bit to Stevenson. Haven't drafted a lot of Tootin. I think Tootin's a little bit more of a pick I'm going to make after the backfield situation's been kind of settled in free agency and the NFL draft. So probably a lot more Tootin in BBM that I'm taking here in the big, the big board and the little board. But that is, just because I just don't see the benefit of taking him in this particular draft. I think his value could swing wildly in a negative direction, and I don't think it necessarily can climb too much higher. So, 20 picks or something. I'm not going to say it's not insignificant, but I want the backfield to get settled there before I'm going to take too much of him. Give me Alec Pierce, excuse me. Which, he goes. That's a solid pick there. I'm looking at quarterback potentially or wide receiver here. Maybe running back. I don't know. Everything's on the table at this point. All right, let's go. Interesting. Let's go Jacoby. Definitely want Jacoby, and then I might just go Trevor and build the stack real quickly. Let's do that. Myers and Trevor Lawrence. Get our 5th wide receiver. Get our first quarterback. I think that's pretty solid. Happy with how we came out of there. I like Mahomes, but he's injured. Trevor had a good year. I like the coaching staff. Think that they're an ascending team as well. So feel pretty good about that pick. Let's go and recap the team. At quarterback, we have 1, Trevor Lawrence. At running back, we have 2, Ashton Jeanty and Jeremiah Love. And then at the wide receiver position, we have 5, Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey, the rookie Makai Lemon out of USC, Cortland Sutton, and Jacoby Myers. I think this team is sitting in pretty good shape. We will probably be looking for quarterback in this range based on kind of what I know about the pricing. Running back would also be on the table, and tight end. But I think we could have some fallers here. So I'll be looking at some falling value at either of those 3 positions, and hopefully we'll get two good players here in about 13 picks. I'll go ahead and head over to the board so you guys can check that out while we wait. Monty's right in that 75, right there after Stevenson and Warren. I think he'll eventually jump those guys. I could see a case for him to be, squarely in the 6th round. Should be ahead of guys like Scatabo, in my opinion. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why are we taking Scatabo over David Montgomery, who's got a clear 3-down skill set and should be, can consolidate carries with his athletic profile versus somebody like Scatabo? I don't know. Better offense, better coaching. He's put it on tape for multiple years. I'm just not feeling Scatabo at this price. If you guys disagree, let me know. Okay, we are 3 picks away. Got a few guys on the board that I like. We'll see what's left when we get here. Okay. Well, I'm kind of feeling Baker for 1. And then I would say Matthew Golden. Yeah. Let's do that. Baker. And then we get Matthew Golden as our 6th wide receiver. A little early for him. I don't get some of these other player prices over a 2nd-year breakout, potential breakout player like Matthew Golden. Diggs just got cut. He's in his 30s. I don't know where he's going to land. He's got to learn a new offense. Matthew Golden's going into his 2nd year. He had a promising 1st year. He was a young, early declare on a good team. Those things take time. He's got the perfect profile for best ball, can score long touchdowns, doesn't require a ton of volume. Looks pretty good in the open space. So yeah, give me Matthew Golden here over guys like Jennings, Reed, who's never played more than like 70% of the snaps. I like Shakir. I could have definitely gone Shakir, but with the DJ Moore news, I think that shakes things up a little bit for Shakir. Kind of want to see where his price settles after the DJ Moore news. Yeah, this is called the No Structure Podcast for a reason. We don't maintain structure early in drafts. We'll come back at the end and kind of get back into structure where it makes sense, but we're going to take the best players for the most part and use structure as more of a boundary condition to our drafting. We want to get the best players with the best profiles, the best texture in each of these rooms, and texture be damned, or excuse me, structure be damned. All right, looking at the board, 8 picks away, coming down the home stretch here, 11th round. Coleman goes first, followed by Shuck and Sam Darnold, followed by Jaden Higgins. And in this range, in the 132 to 133, we kind of have to play it, up through like what's available at 155, what's available at 154. Because if these players aren't coming back, especially when you're on the edges, be it the first pick or the second pick or the 11th or 12th pick, you really have to think out to, like, in this case, pick like 154. What's the value there? And if there's guys you want to go get them, because they're not coming back. And it may feel early and it may feel a little, uncomfortable, but that's how you got to play it. We're going to go J.K. Dobbins, like his price here. And then we'll go ahead and grab Rachaad White, because I don't think he's coming back. So yeah, it's pick 153, but we kind of, like I said, have to play this out to pick 155. Is there a slight chance he comes back? Yes, but I haven't seen him go that late recently. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves some Rachaad White. Now let's check out this team. We have Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Ashton Jeanty, Jeremiah Love, J.K. Dobbins, and Rachaad White, both of whom are free agents in this upcoming free agency class. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey, Makai Lemon, Cortland Sutton, Jakobi Meyers, and Matthew Golden. And no tight ends at this current moment in time. I like the texture in the wide receiver room. In particular, we have, guys that should just be consistent, solid contributors that have a ceiling, but probably aren't going to get there all that often. And maybe somebody like a Jakobi Meyers or a Cortland Sutton. And then I think we have some, uncertainty, but probably some spike week upside in guys like Makai Lemon, Garrett Wilson, potentially Matthew Golden if he hits. We've got a mix of second-year guys, vets, and rookie breakouts. So yeah, just really like that room, like how it's put together. Running back room, kind of the same thing. Rookie, second-year guy, older vet, pass catching upside. So good texture. Need another quarterback, probably, and would also like to, hopefully dip into that tight end room here pretty soon. We'll just have to see what's available in 9 picks. Feel pretty good now at the running back position when I'm sitting at Rachaad White as my 4th. Feel like we're in pretty good shape there. Could definitely use a tight end, but obviously I want to, the value pocket is kind of back here a little bit in my mind. David Njoku, Terrence Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, TJ Hawkinson. That's the sweet spot for me at cost. Better value up here, quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight end, not tight end, excuse me, running backs. I think learning the board and knowing kind of the board from pick 230, not exactly, but in a general sense, 230 all the way up to, pick 1, where you kind of know where there's clusters and tiers of players at each position group. You can really kind of build from the back, as they say, knowing when you're going to want to kind of step into a given, a given position group. All right, I do like Jalen McMillan here. Could get the stack going with Baker. He's well priced, so we'll go ahead and scoop him. That gets us our 7th wide receiver, and then could go either Daniel Jones or Mark Andrews. I'm thinking Andrews here. Like him at this price, and then like coming back a little bit later. Thought about Daniel Jones. That was an option. Don't think we need a force 3. I like 3, but if we roll out 2 in this build, I'd be okay with that if it's these 2. Let's go to recap the squad. I think we're in a pretty good situation for the most part. Little light at quarterback. We're sitting at a 2-4-7-1. The 2 quarterbacks are Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield. At running back, Ashton Jeanty, Jeremiah Love, J.K. Dobbins, and Rachaad White. At wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey, Mekhi Lemon, Courtland Sutton. Jakobi Meyers stacked up with Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Golden, and then Jalen McMillions, tethered to Baker Mayfield. Feel good about the wide receiver room. If we stopped here, I think those 7 would be pretty rock solid. Could definitely add one more. I think more than that is probably overkill. Would like another tight end if we could get one back here in this little value pocket that I spoke to earlier. And yeah, a running back and a tight end in these next 2 picks would be cool. If not that, quarterback. I don't know if there's a quarterback in this range. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. I mean, we could go a variety of ways here. Excuse me. All right. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, this is the No Structure Best Ball podcast presented to you by Fantasy Fitness. Check out Fantasy Fitness. That's www.fantasyfitness.io. At Fantasy Fitness, you get player profile pages for every major player in the league. We might be missing a few, but we're always adding team profile breakdowns, overall scores, passing scores, rushing metrics, efficiency and production metrics, scoring and turnover metrics, pace of play, success rate, and time of possession metrics. For every player, we got heat maps to kind of see how they score out in given areas. These are all position specific. So a 4-5 for a quarterback is very good versus a 4-4-3 for a running back. You can see that's not quite as impressive as a 4-5-5 for a wide receiver, or excuse me, for a quarterback. You can compare different teams to one another, and you can also do some AI insights. You can integrate your rosters from Sleeper, FFPC, and Yahoo. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we have Kamani Vidal. Like him on this team, fits the AFC West divisional correlation very nicely. I also like these picks, Hawkinson, Stowers. This is tough. Let's go Hawk I know it's a little early, but again, we're on the end, and I don't see what's significantly better about Theo Johnson over Hawkinson. Certainly from a talent perspective, Hawkinson is top 10 pick, very good for many years between Detroit and Minnesota. Had the ACL injury, hasn't fully, been himself since that time, but at 189, I mean, this guy has gone as early as like the third or fourth round in Dynasty. So I know we're in a new world, but still, that's crazy. All right, 2572 build. Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield, Ashton Genty, Jeremiah Love, J.K. Dobbins, Rachaad White, and Kamani Vidal. A wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey, Makai Lemon, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers, Matthew Golden, and Jalen McMillions. Followed by Mark Andrews and T.J. Hawkinson at tight end. I would say we have an AFC West divisional correlation thing going. That's Las Vegas, possibly Denver with Dobbins. If not, Kamani Vidal, Ladd McConkey, Cortland Sutton, and that's kind of our AFC West divisional correlation. Hopefully we get some playoff matchups involving those teams. And then we follow that up with Matthew Golden and TJ Hawkinson in the NFC North. And that's kind of it. But something, like I said, little tip for pre-draft best ball, pre-NFL draft and schedule. I guess schedule. Draft doesn't really matter. All right, we are 7 picks away. Let's check out the board. We're at the top of the board. Brian Robinson's our highest rated player at this point. Again, we are at picks 204 and 205. Okay, probably one of these tight ends. I think I like the athletic profile and the upside that Mason Taylor offers over a Gunnar Helm. So we'll go Mason Taylor. And then that gets us our third tight end. We're probably done there. A couple players on the Jets offense. I think at this point, Ray Davis is speaking to me here at this price. Probably the highest valued handcuff, on a premier offense behind a team that likes to run the ball in Buffalo. So we get our 6th running back. That's a solid 6. We're at 7 wide receivers, and then we have our 3 tight ends. I think this is going to turn out to be a 2 quarterback build at this point. We could go with a Cousins or a Ty Simpson, maybe a Geno Smith if we really wanted to take a stab. I guess we'll see what's on the board. I won't rule it out, but it's a little bit leaner. But if if they stay healthy, then they're good to have in Mayfield and Trevor Lawrence. Thinking through what else this team needs, wide receiver is high on the list. So we're looking at least one wide receiver with these next 2 picks, potentially a quarterback, possibly a running back. We'll see. 17 picks away. Coming down the home stretch here. I guess it's not technically the home stretch. Maybe this is the home stretch. if we're being technical. But because we're dealing with 18 rounds, I'm going to go ahead and call this the home stretch too. Or excuse me, 20 rounds, and we're in round 18. Sanders, McCarthy, and Brissett with May up top, so that's a 4-quarterback build. I don't love that. Call me crazy. Ooh, excuse me, getting kind of tired. Appreciate you guys stopping by. It's been a good draft. Trying to stay engaged. Jalen Knoll, like that pick a lot. Been drafting a ton of him in the last 2 rounds. Bailey, picking him up a little bit here and there when I've got like Shuck. Haven't taken a ton of Flournoy, but some people have been talking him up in the Twitter machine. Coming back to the board, or excuse me, coming back to the list view. We are coming down the home stretch here. All right, 2 picks away. I've got one player in mind, and then I'm still kind of thinking through my strategy here with this last pick. So I'm going to go Tez for the double stack with Baker. I think that's easy to kind of get that other Tampa Bay offensive wide receiver. Otherwise, I'm thinking Devin Neal. Got that NFC South correlation cooking. Also, like LaQuint Allen. Maybe we'll go LaQuint Allen on this one. Low ownership. Let's assume that in this build, Travis Etienne is not coming back. That leaves Bashal Tutin and maybe LaQuint Allen. He's not going to be on a lot of drafts, so if he does hit, it's a low ownership piece to uniqueify. When I say uniqueify, I mean to make your roster unique relative to the field, especially as you start advancing through the playoffs. So we end up with the 2-7-8-3. The 2 quarterbacks are Trevor Lawrence, double stacked with LaQuint Allen and Jakobi Meyers. And then we have Baker Mayfield, double stacked with Jalen McMillions and Tez Johnson. And then the rest of the team is as follows: Ashton Jeanty and Jeremiah Love, the premier prospect from Notre Dame, likely going to go in the top 10 in the NFL draft. J.K. Dobbins, free agent. Rachaad White, free agent. Kamani Vidal, Ray Davis, and LaQuint Allen. I think that's a solid room across the board. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey, Makai Lemon, Cortland Sutton, Jakobi Meyers, Matthew Golden, and the aforementioned McMillions and Tez Johnson. And then at tight end, Mark Andrews, old reliable, TJ Hawkinson, more old reliable, and then Mason Taylor for the sophomore breakout. That does it for the squad. I like this team quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and grade this one out a B+. Unique combo that I didn't have yet in the portfolio, Jeanty Love. So getting that pairing, I'm sure it's not going to be overly or I'm sure it's going to be common, relatively common, but still something I want to have in the portfolio. I think Rachaad White's a great pick on the board right now. Kamani Vidal too, good handcuff, good offense, can consolidate carries. He's shown that last year. Same with Ray Davis. He's much better priced this year than he was last year. And then LaQuint Allen for the low ownership piece. In the wide receiver room, Wilson, Ladd McConkey, Makai Lemon for the rookie upside, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers, Matthew Golden for a second-year breakout, Jalen McMillions for the comeback player of the year after being out for most of last year with that neck injury, and then Tez Johnson, adds a layer here as a double stack with Baker. So I just think that's a good, cheap, low ownership piece at the wide receiver position. And then you got those tight ends. So B+. Appreciate you guys stopping by. I'll be back online tomorrow for the lunch draft. We'll be doing the big board around lunchtime, 12:30, 1:30, somewhere in there. So tune in for that. And then if you guys like what you saw, definitely give me a follow on Twitter or X so that you guys are notified when I'll be getting on. So that's going to be my handle here is at FantasyFitIO. Be sure to check that out. And then from a YouTube perspective, you'll want to go to at FantasyFitnessIO, and you'll see all of my best ball drafts. I'm trying to record as many as I possibly can. I want to have them on record. So if I do well or get to the finals, place pretty high, I'll have a record of what I did, what was the strategy, how did we piece together the team, all that fun stuff. And get out, build an audience, and just have a good time with you guys. So appreciate you stopping by, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night. We'll talk to you then. Peace.